Hello, hello, hello! This is the Real Agent P, and I'm coming at you with a starter guide for UI Goku. Yes, this man right here is getting his own starter guide, so let's jump right into it. In this guide, we're going to be going over his special moves. There's a lot. His supers, thankfully not a lot. His notable normals, again, a lot. His pros, his cons, and what I think a good game plan and team placement for him will be. First up with his special moves, we have his Godly Display, and that is quarter circle forward and his attack buttons. So if you do the light, you see zoops forward a little bit. Heavy, quite a bit. Showstopper is the medium because it goes full screen, baby. You can do a nice little vanish conversion. You got to be quicker than that to get the actual conversion off. But hey, I'm recording and talking and everything at the same time, so of course I'm gonna mess up. The nice thing, if you watch the invincibility info, is these are fully invincible once he actually starts moving. So that means he will go through anything. As long as he can start moving beforehand, he can get that nice little conversion and go from there. This is really good for calling out moves from full screen that have some big startups. The heavy, as you saw, didn't go full screen, but it goes quite a bit. So, you know, from about here, it definitely hits. And causes a hell of a wall bounce. So if we just do a standing 2M, not even moving here, we're going to catch and convert. And again, dropped it because I'm recording, but hey, you get the idea. So it is a really, really good call-out tool in his arsenal, and something that, while I don't suggest you spam it, definitely keep in mind that it is there and that it is fully invincible. Like I said, it's as soon as he gets done with the caveman slouch there. So that caveman slouch, that, and the nice thing also, if we set the enemy to block, -2. Across the board. Doesn't matter which version you're using, -2, and you're -2 from here. If they're not ready to start mashing, then you got some good pressure. But if they mash, you're gonna lose. So it is a good thing just to back up after this if you see it's blocked, and don't try to extend your pressure because you will get blown up for it. Next up, we're going to be talking about his Rising Heat, and this is Down Down Special. And a lot of people have been calling this Jam Session for a very good reason. Dante from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, one of his assists you can do is Jam Session, and it's functions very, very, very similar to this. Now this is a true DP. As you can see from startup, it is fully invincible. So this is a good get off me tool. If you have that second to pop that out, go ahead and do that, and it will just completely beat everything else. And that does track all the way to the top of the screen, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in his assists, because this is one of his assists that he has. This is really good for a lot of TOD combos I've seen. You start off DP into that and then just kind of go with it. I haven't learned any TOD combos with him, so I'm not going to be able to show you, but it is useful in that respect to where you can do that. You can also, vanish out like I just did. If you do it quick enough, you can get a conversion off of it. Like that. So it is a nice little get off me tool. It is a good DP. The fact that it's down instead of like quarter circle back, like a lot of your DPs, makes it a little awkward to down because you are taking your thumb off that back button for just a second, and to double tap down instead of just quarter circle back. So it can leave you open, but if you can make that read and do it right, then you're gonna get some good stuff off of it. Okay, the next special move we're going to talk about is his Kamehameha. And he's got two flavors. He's got a quarter circle forward special, which flips him forward, and a quarter circle back, which flips him backwards. This is also doable in the air, and they also flip the same ways in the air. So if you're like one to do pressure, call out, you can do that quarter circle back one. If you're pressure, jump in, you know, you can just, they're a pretty standard beam. In all honesty, they're a pretty standard beam. They're a little slower startup, you know, 27 point blank. And it just, yeah. They're a pretty standard beam. They're a little slower than normal beams, but you can do them in the air. They have the same angle, so you can't like angle them up or down like Super Saiyan Gokus or you know, base Gokus or anything like that. They have the same angle, but that's a fairly good angle because that eats up a lot of real estate there. So you know, it's definitely not a bad beam. It's not best in class beam, I think, really by any means, but it's still a beam. Beams are good, and yeah, he's blessed to have one. All right, guys. Next up is the Autonomous Fist, and this is quarter circle forward in the air only. So this is the same one as his Godly Display, but in the air it does this. So you might notice this looks pretty similar to a move that a certain gentleman standing on the screen with me has, and it pretty much is. You know, you do that. This is his light version, his medium version, and his heavy version. Now, they function on whiff about the same. In combos, though, we're gonna light just does a soft knockdown. No fuss, no muss. Medium gets a sliding knockdown, and from pretty much anywhere on the screen. See, you just boom, you're right in their face with that medium, with the Oki, and the heavy side switches and bounce for, you know, continuance. You can do call and assist there. You can even do a super, and it's actually kind of important that it side switches because a lot of his supers have a certain thing about them that we'll get into whenever we get into the super section. But yeah, you're gonna be using the medium mostly for a combo ender because it does give you that nice sliding knockdown with that in their face Oki where you're right here and they have to wake up. If they're gonna up tech, back tech, forward tech, you know, delay tech, whatever, you are right here and you are in their face just glowing on them. And for the last of his special moves, I saved the big one for last. This is his Unencumbered Mind. This is quarter circle back, and if you hold any of the attack buttons, he flips and then does a little dash. So the light gives him one flip, medium gives him 3 flips and a little dash, and heavy gives him a teleport and 2 flips. Now you're like, okay, movement options, cool. Movement options are always good, especially those. Something to note about these, we're going to turn the invincibility info off. They're invincible to projectiles. So, okay, cool. Well, what does that mean specifically? Well, it means any projectiles. So, even a level 1 super. When I say any projectile, I mean any projectile. So it doesn't matter what it is, if it's a super, if it's a special move, if it's any kind of projectile, this move is completely immune to it. And it has follow-ups. Okay, so each of these follow-ups have different names because if you just do the button, just tap the button, it's gonna do them. But you can also go into the flips, and then it doesn't matter which flip you start off with. So I'm going to start off with the medium flip and do the light follow-up. You can do that. I'm going to start off with the light flip and do the heavy follow-up. You can do that. Something else is you can follow up into a Kamehameha. So this is where the crux of his mix-up game comes, are these flips. The light version, just for completion's sake, is called the Godly Strike. It is +3 on block. So if we set the characters, set the enemy settings to guard all, and we go down to info display and turn on frame data, there we go. And he's blocking everything we thrown at him. Okay. +3 on block. Yes, if he didn't have enough already, he has a plus on block as well. That's really easy to, like... really easy to do stuff with. Okay, so Godly Strike, +3 on block. His medium move is Transcendence, and it is a true command grab. Because, again, we have him blocking still. I haven't changed that. I haven't changed the fact that he's blocking. This is a command grab. It's a pretty good one. It's a nice little switch up, because you have to think, okay, is he going to plus on block me and then take his turn back? Is he going to command grab me? What's he gonna do? You know, again, getting to that mix-up phase. And then his heavy version is Embodied Light, and this thing is stupid. So, you know, you got that nice little flip there, and yeah, you're -10, but you're -10 in the air, so you can backdash. Still fairly safe. You have to have someone that has a really, really crazy good 2H or just something that can call that out insanely good to be able to punish it. Now, something about this move is on hit, it causes a crumple state. Now, watch these frames of advantage. 96, 110 frames of advantage. He's got 110 frames of advantage to do anything you want to after this. You can literally just walk up to him and just go from it. You can literally walk up on him after this happens, and this has like decent range. Now you're whipping from here. Round start, you're hitting. So I mean, this move is belligerent, and these are all good in the air too. So if you're flitting around, just jumping, flitting around, just, you know, nope, +3, and just go into it from there. So these flip moves and the follow-ups and everything associated with them are crazy good, and this is where you're going to be getting the majority of your mix with this character off of. Also, one thing with the in-air light version, that version right there, this is also a good combo ender. Because it brings you down with them. As long as you're high enough in the air, it'll bring you down with them. You just do that, call an assist, guaranteed Dragon Rush into whatever you want from there. Moving on to his supers, he has 2 level 1 supers, one that has a level 2 follow-up, and 1 level 3 super. So not as crazy as the special move list, but they're still pretty good. So his first level 1 is quarter circle forward, and the R1 button, it is Accelerating Battle Spirit. And as you saw, invincibility, fully invincible once he flips, so this is another good way to call out things from full screen. And this is also his DHC move. So if you're doing a super and you call him in, this is what he's going to do. It's this big old, just jump behind Kamehameha, it's nice. So it's a little bit on the lower end of the super damage scale. His minimal scaling is a little bit lower than normal. Not terribly lower, but just a little bit. Now this one is the one with the level 2 follow-up, and the level 2 follow-up is called Unpolished Instinct, because if you hold either one of the R buttons, super buttons, you'll go right into that level 2, and it keeps your side. So if you're in the corner here, normally you would lose your corner. Yeah, and then you're full screen, no Oki, no nothing. But if you have the extra bar to spin, hold it down, boom, you got him back in the corner. And they're not in the corner. So that makes for some, you know... That makes for some shenanigans like that, because it just pull him out of the corner just a little bit. His second level 1 super is called Guiding Impulse. Whoops, wrong one. Guiding Impulse, and that's this. That's where he jazz hands. And this is a, well, if I can do it right, counter super. This will counter everything except for other super moves. So special moves, any normal attacks, any beams, key blasts, whatever they're throwing at you, rocks, anything, it's going to counter, and it is usable in the air too. So if you're flitting around and you can call out, like, say you got Super Broly down here and he just keeps chucking his eraser rolls, you can jump up and catch one, and then boom, you're in its face. Now this does have the same issue that any other counter, projectile counter in this game has, you know, whether it be Jiren's, Janimbas, Goku's, even when Cooler's level 3s countering a projectile, is that it can be vanished out of when it's countering a projectile. If it's countering an actual hit, a physical character-to-character punch or whatever, you can't vanish out of it. But if it is countering a projectile, it does leave them with that small gap, that small window to be able to vanish out of. So it's not a catch-all. It's not just going to automatically just fly swatter your opponent. But it is a good, you know, check tool to say, hey, I see what you're doing. Hit me. One other thing that I should note with the Guiding Impulse super is that whenever you actually do the damage, it is going to be completely blue life damage. So they are going to be able to, if they have sparking left, if they can switch out, they are going to be able to recover everything that you do to them. And his level 3 super is the Silver Dragon Flash. And this thing is just pretty. This is literally, I think, the best looking level 3 in the game. And that huge beam. Oh, it's just so pretty. A couple things. It does side switch, as you saw. It does go full screen. So it is a full screen super. So you don't have to worry about that. You can call out things from across the screen. And it does side switch. So if you got him in the corner, you are going to lose your Oki and everything like that. And it is a little bit on the lower end of the minimal scaling damage. So that's kind of a theme with him, is that all of his supers don't leave you with great Oki, and they are a little bit lower damaging supers than anybody else in the game. But they are also just, you know, really cool. And the level 1 does have that workaround by going into the level 2 to keep this corner and everything like that. But it is something to note with all of his supers, is they all side switch, and they pretty much leave the opponent full screen. So Oki with him is not going to be the best. Okay, moving on to his notable normals, and boy, he has quite a few notable normals. So we're going to start off with his light. It's just 5L. It's a 7-frame light, so he does not have a 6-frame move, even if it's 2L, which is a low hitting. See, he has to duck, so he has that low hitting 2L for anybody who really cares. Even his 2L is not a 6-framer, so he does not have a 6-frame move, but he's punching Jiren from about here. I mean, his jab range is very good, and it has a deceptively tall hitbox to it, so you can catch people around like this height right here. You can catch him with the jab, and that's not even saying anything about his jump jab. Like you saw his jump jab's pretty good too. His jump medium's really good, has a good range. But the one that I kind of want to talk about is this second hit of his 5L, his 5LL. As you see that invincibility, low attacks only. This will crush any low attack. So if you're mashing and someone tries to 2L you, you're gonna beat them. You're just gonna flat out beat them. And as you can see, this second move has some good range. Like, we're 3/4 away across the screen, and he can whiff a button towards you. It's ridiculous. And you know, if we just continue the auto combo, as you see, the third one is a grab. Third one is a true grab. So if you space it right, you can just chuck them. And boom. Off of a whipped 5 LLL. He got that much damage. So yeah, it is a true grab. You can do some shenanigans, like I said, with the proper spacings of where you whip that second hit, because that grab does move you forward just a little bit. But again, his side switches like many of his moves. It does side switch, but it is a true grab. So if you do some things with low block stun assists, you can get those shenanigans where it's like, okay, I'm gonna hit you, boom, hit you with an assist right here, and then you're out of block stun from the assist, and you're getting chucked. So there are definitely some shenanigans to be pulled with this at the very least. His 2H has really good range, and you can see he flips him back. On block, it is 2 hits. It is 2 hits. But on block, it moves you fairly far back, and you recover in the air. So you can continue pressure, 2H. Just keep going from there, back off. You can cancel it, and you can cancel any of the hits into a special move. So you can do one hit of it. If it's blocked, do a Kamehameha. You can cancel that second hit and do a Kamehameha. Yeah, it's really good. And like I said, it's got good range. I mean, round start position, the second one's hitting. And that hitbox is as ridiculous as it looks. Like, you can just yeet people out of the sky. It's great. And his air too heavy, we're gonna take that off there for just a second, has a neat little move where, oops, I gotta do a more advanced combo here. So yeah, it kicks him up, you know, whatever. But if you're better than I am at this right now, and insanely delay it, you can get a nice little side switch there. Yeah. So he's got a pretty, I'm gonna say, fairly easy side switch, because that 2H does have a lot of forward momentum to it, to where you can get, you know, you have to really heavily delay that super dash, but you can get a side switch without too much trouble. And if you're a little early, then, you know, you're gonna stay same side. If you're a little late, they will tech out, so you have to make sure that you're not too late. If you're trying this out in a real match situation, I would almost err on too early than too late, because at the very least, you're still going to connect, and you're still going to finish your combo out. It's better than dropping it. Okay, now we're getting into his command normals. I told you this was a long section. His 6H is the Secret Sensation. This one you will know as, oops, the Zoop. Now this isn't frame 1. This is like frame, I think somebody said like 3 or 4 that this starts up on. So you can't just like frame 1 counter this. But the nice thing is, you see my frame advantage is 2 there, +2. It's not always going to be +2. It depends on where you are on the screen, on where your advantage is going to be. I don't have any bots to really set up to show you this right now, but if you're full screen, it's like minus 20 or something like that. But the thing to note with this move is that no matter how negative you are allowed to block. Goku is invincible until he is done with the state. So until he's done with that state and gets back to where he's neutrally standing, he is invincible. It's like Janimba's projectile counter, where he's sitting there laughing, and the whole time that he's laughing, you can't touch him. It's that same principle. So if you call out something from full screen and get right in there and they start mashing their buttons, you are allowed to block. So don't just like do it and then go crazy on your buttons, because there are a lot of times where you're going to get blown up for that. Okay, his next command normal is his forward S, and that's Shining Soul. As you can see, it's invincible to Key Blast. He does a couple little booms. This I've already seen used in a lot of like TOD corner sparking combos to get like mathematically perfect stuff. You can do that, and then jump cancel because you're in sparking, and do all kinds of fun stuff. But as far as, you know, in match not being in any kind of combo, it is nice because you can just pop that out, and as long as he's spinning, you are, until it finishes, you are immune to Key Blast, which is really nice. So if you got someone that's just Key Blast happy, like a Broly, just pop that out and, you know, call it good. You can also just, you know, do something else we're going to talk about here in a second, but you know, he does have this actual way to counter them instead of just, you know, nullifying their effects. So on top of all the notable normals and the command normals he also has a different tech option. So we're going to get hit with a level 3, and I am just holding the Dragon Rush button. I'm not mashing it, I'm not doing anything, I'm just holding it. So that punch that he did is his Unrestrained Will, and that is a tech option that he has that nobody else has in the game. So he can just hold, like I said, hold the Dragon Rush button, tech out into a punch. If, here's the big if on this, guard all, see if this does what I want it to do. Oh. So if your enemy calls this out and is blocking, it's negative 20 on block. So it is death on block. Like, you're gonna get blown up for it. Now, of course, you can, you know, do it, vanish to make it quote-unquote safe, but if the enemy calls out the vanish with a 2H, it's still very, very punishable. So there have been a lot of players, against me specifically, that have gotten a lot of mileage out of this so far, and it does make you think, okay, it does make the enemy think, alright, is he going to do this? Is he not going to do this? Do I run up and just give up my Oki pressure in case he does it? Or do I still do my Oki pressure and then get punched in the face if he does it? Or, you know, there's all those layers upon layers upon layers of stuff that he has. And basically this move just lets him say, you know what, Oki, no. You're gonna have to wake up on my, even though I'm waking up on your terms, you're gonna have to wake up on my terms. And the fact that he can do this off of any knockdown, soft knockdown, sliding knockdown, as you saw, level 3 hard knockdown, it doesn't matter. Anytime that you can tech, if you hold down this button, you're gonna tech with a punch to the face. Alright, and finally, we couldn't talk about UI Goku's notable normals without talking about his walk. So as you can see, it says Invincibility Key Blast. So what does that translate into exactly? Translates into this. He just doesn't care. Just does not care. Now the kind of neat thing that you can do with this is while you're walking, if you do it right, if you time it right, which I don't think, I think her Key Blasts are too close together for me to time this right. You can zoop on your enemy. So if you catch them just spamming Key Blast, and you have that timing down, everything I do, you can just zoop on him. This is something, again, only UI Goku can do, and it's only his walk. So if he's walking and starts to go backwards, he's gonna get hit. He can't lock out of it. If he tries to dash, you're gonna get hit. If he tries to jump, you're gonna get hit. So it's only while you're walking menacingly towards your opponent that you can get away with just saying no, keep less, no. Okay, so moving on to his assists, he's got the A, the B, the C like everybody else. And his A assist is his Rising Heat or his Jam Session. Comes out in front of your character and does it. And like I said, if I'm gonna do a nice little comp, oh, I have to do that real quick. That does pull him all the way back up to the top of the screen. So you can see that beam goes all the way up. It is a nice assist. Okay, his B assist is the Kamehameha. The thing I will note about it is a pretty slow startup. So you can see we're going to reset that attack startup. 40 frames. So it's a very slow startup because he does have to do that flip. He is in front of you. So let's say you call him at a bad time, and you're both getting smacked for it. So out of his 3 assists, I'd say it's the least useful, but it is a beam. It does cover a pretty good angle of the screen. It's just the slow startup and the fact that he leaves himself pretty vulnerable for the startup is the reason that I don't personally like it. Alright, and his C assist pops out, punches you. It looks pretty normal, but it tracks. It is one of the few that tracks. So if you have something that you need a lot of vertical tracking for, then you can get it. You can get it really well. So it tracks pretty decently. I don't think its tracking is quite as good as some of the other tracking C assists, but it still is a pretty good tracking C assist. But pretty standard as far as the C assists go. Out of his assists, I like the Jam Session best. I'm never gonna call it by its right name. Just because of its utility. It is a DP assist. It does have just a few frames of startup, but as soon as that ball comes out, he's invincible, and you can move into that pretty easily. He does pop up in front of you. It's got a good amount of hit stun. Now you do have to like super jump off of it to get it. So if you're looking for an easy confirm, it's not necessarily an easy confirm. But in the corner, it's a super easy confirm, and it just works really well with the other 2 characters that I have on this team. Okay, so what do I personally think are his pros and cons? For pros, the dude is pretty privileged. I mean, he's got good buttons. His jabs, his 2M is pretty good. His 2-hitting medium, which I think I forgot to talk about, but it's a 2-hitting medium, and it works really well in block strings because that second hit is a low. So you can go like low, medium. Yeah, you can go like low, high, medium, low in block strings. He's got a great toolkit. Like everything I just went over is useful in one way or another, and he's got good range on his normals. His 2H, stupid range. His 2M's pretty good range. His standing medium's good range. His 5L's good range. His 5LL is crazy good range and crushes lows. So he's got good range on everything like that. He can basically say screw neutral here, 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 here. So he can basically say screw neutral. With his wake up option, he can say screw your Oki, you're gonna do what I want to do. He's got fairly easy combo rats. I mean, it's a pretty standard it's a pretty standard B&B. Like, nothing crazy about his B&B. It's whenever you get into the optimization and flashiness, and he's got some really flashy combos that just look really cool when you're doing them that I cannot do, so don't even at me. But he's got, you know, easy combo rats that are very damaging. He's got flashy combo rats that are very damaging. He's got good assists. Like, overall, like, I know I kind of crapped on his Kamehameha assist a little bit, but it's still a beam. It's still a good assist. So he's got good assists. He has, like, the beams, and he's got the evasiveness to have an evasive beam or a pressure beam. His DHC synergy is really good, especially with, like, these two, because Videl knocks him up. It doesn't matter where the enemy is on the screen. If you call him in for that level 1, he's going to be there. Goku Black, you can do his Divine Lasso way up at the top of the skybox. DHC him in. He's going to be there. His level 3 is the same way. So he's got good DH synergy. He's got good zoning. Because I didn't even talk about his Ki Blast at all. You know, this is a... It's not a beam property, it will lose out to beams, but it's a lot like Jiren's. And, you know, his 2S here, this jails into this. So, I mean, like, I didn't even talk about his Ki Blast in there. But he's got good he's got good zoning tools with that, and then he's got good anti-zoning tools with, you know, that and this. So, I mean, he's a zoner, he's an anti-zoner. He's a pressure monster, he's a mix-up monster. He's just got everything. He's definitely a jack of all trades and a master of a few of them. Now, as far as cons go, he's hard to master. He's easy to pick up. Like, yeah, very beginner friendly as far as like, oh, this character looks awesome, I want to pick him up and play him. A beginner could pick him up and use him somewhat effectively to where they don't feel like they're like, oh my god, I don't know anything about this character. It's not like Hit or Janemba or Captain Ginyu or anything like that where they're like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing with this character. It is a very simple pick up and play character that they can feel like they're having fun with, but he's hard to master. He's hard to get everything okay. In this situation, I need to do this flip followed up by this punch, or this flip followed up by this punch, or I need to do the heavy version of this instead of the light version of this, or I need to make sure that I do this knockdown instead of this knockdown. So all of that, you know, and knowing your positioning and your screen carry and your corner positioning, that's all hard to do. So he's very hard to master because of all of that stuff. He has a little bit lower than normal damage supers. He's not blessed with high damage supers, which, you know, considering everything else he has, I think is a pretty good trade-off. You know, it's like, okay, cool, I have a really high B&B, but my super damage is going to be a little bit lower, and all of his super side switch. And honestly, as far as cons go, that's all I can think of is those three. Okay, so for his game plan is patience. In true Ultra Instinct style, his game plan is patience and defense. It is all about knowing when to counterattack, what to counterattack with, and how to maximize the damage once you've got it. And don't be afraid to just sit there and play the patient block game, you know, with this guy. He's got the tools of the defensive tools and the countering tools to play a very heavy defensive game, which I think is rare in this game. Cooler is one of the only other characters I can think that plays a pretty decent defensive game. Jiren, I think, was supposed to be able to play a decent defensive game, but I just don't think it was implemented in the correct way. Janemba can play a pretty decent defensive game, especially with his Zoops. But other than that, man, he's kind of standing alone on top of that defensive mountain. So if you are a very defensively minded player, if you are a Goichi type player, this character is right up your alley. Now, where I think that he fits on a team, I do personally think that he is strongest on point or mid. I personally am running him as an anchor. Now, you might be like, why? It's because of my team composition. Videl, I feel, is a pretty decent anchor. She has some standalone mix-up stuff that can get kind of tricky and will work, you know, anywhere. But I'm running her point because she is strongest. That's where it maximizes her strengths. Black is a good mid because it maximizes his strengths. And UI Goku is just stronger than both of them pretty much combined, so I feel like he's a good anchor for me because I can sit there and he's very Cooler-like in the way that I want to play him with his defensive moves, his counter moves, everything like that. It puts me in the mind of Cooler, and Cooler is my strongest character, so that's why I'm using him in that anchor position. Now that might switch around a little bit. I might even switch up this team a little bit, but as of right now, that's where I think that he belongs on my team personally. But if you're looking for a super strong point, this is him. If you're looking for a really good mid with some pretty good assists, this is him. You know, even if you're looking for an anchor to hold down things, you know, this guy can do it. Alright, so overall, I think that they did a really good job putting this character together. I think he's insanely strong. He's got so many tools to work with. He's a lot of fun to play. He is flashy. He looks good. I mean, just everything about this character is solid. If you were to want to put him on a tier list, I would argue top 5, if not top 3. There's a lot of pro players putting him top 3, and I can definitely understand that. But overall, I think he is a great character, and definitely give him a shot, even if you don't like Gokus. I don't like playing the Gokus. I love playing this character because he is so much fun. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that bell for notifications, and leave a comment down below. Remember, you can find me on Twitter at TheRealAgentP1 or Facebook at TheRealAgentP85. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, but most importantly, have a great day.